Hello, this is Anthony Miller again, and I thought I'd create a short video to check in with you all and talk about some of the changes to the course that we'll see in the second half of the semester. I also wanted to talk about some important things that I put into the Canvas classroom that you should be aware of. The first concerns an academic calendar. I tried to create a short announcement. If you go to your announcements, the latest one will let you know about the upcoming deadlines for all of your assignments. For instance, Module 3, which you're working on right now, you have to read chapters 5 and 6 and complete quizzes for each. But I did go in and I removed typically you've been doing both a short writing assignment and a discussion, which those have been really excellent in terms of quality, especially the discussions. But it seemed like a great number of students were getting overwhelmed with trying to keep up with these activities, and so I removed them from Module 3. And part of that is because you have your upcoming midterm exam, which is due March 17th, as you can see. I'm sorry, March 19th here, okay? And this is timed, and I'm going to talk more about the conditions of the midterm exam here in a second. After that, Module 4 will be due April 2nd. That you also have to read 2 chapters. You'll have quizzes for both, which seem to be going well. And there I'm going to put up a survey in the coming weeks to let you choose which one of the writing exercises you would like to work on. Either a discussion, as you've been doing, or a short writing exercise that asks you to use the 3 C's of things like comparison and context in world history. So be sure to give me your feedback on that, because based on your responses, I'm going to remove one of those assignments. Okay, then Module 5, it'll be back to 2 chapters, 2 quizzes, 1 writing, the same for Module 6. Module 5 is due April 16th. Module 6 is due April 30th, and then after April 30th, again, it's kind of a week where you just hone on this one exam. The other thing that I wanted to talk about in this video was that you all have been completing the surveys I put up on the Canvas site called the student pre-midterm kind of diagnosis of what's been happening. And I just kind of wanted to talk about some of the results in terms of what's helping you learn in this class. Most people are saying that the quizzes are really helping them. People are talked about they like doing the books and the comparative writing assignments, especially the videos. Many of you have expressed you're very visual learners. So obviously you'll continue to see those types of things in the coming weeks. Each unit continues to have those types of activities embedded in there into the modules. And things that might help you increase learning in this class. You expressed that you'd like to see group projects. You talked about taking more detailed notes from the videos and chapters because of their importance, and largely what you're being quizzed on is the content there and your ability to process and use that content. Some of you expressed that really what you need help with is just a way to organize material that you're learning, and so you're kind of learning your study habits and the different note-taking techniques that help you best use what you learn. A lot of people have expressed that the biggest problem, though, is clear directions on the short writing assignments. One note that I'm going to do there, I'll continue to try and post videos or maybe make myself available through office hours, as I've been doing, to answer questions you have about writing assignments. But I would say my number one piece of advice for you going forward is, if you've struggled in your scores on the short writing assignments, ask questions ahead of time. There's no way for me to anticipate in an online class what you're able to get and what you're confused about when you read these directions. It could be any number of things. So really, if you at all have any doubts about whether or not you understand the assignment and what I'm looking for, ask right away. Ask before you start the assignment, or just maybe preview. Maybe start writing the assignment and then send me an excerpt, a few sentences of what you're doing, and say, is this what you want? Okay. But I will take that criticism in mind because it's come from a small minority of you, and I think it's relevant and applicable to the directions. And so I'll also work on improving that as the course goes ahead. Okay. So I'll try and write more accurate descriptions. But really, if there's any kind of miscommunication, that's something that we miss from the face-to-face classroom, is I would present materials, you'd have a chance to read it, and then you'd ask questions. Well, what we're missing is that last part where you ask questions. So please do your best to try and ask some questions. This I have been able to do more about, and that's eliminate some homework and assignments. A lot of people feel like there's so much work, and that's something that's commonly said with the online classroom. So what I did is I removed the writing assignment for Module 3. There is no writing assignment for Module 3. You just read the 2 chapters and take a quiz. And then originally I had planned you to do 2 writing assignments, a short writing and a discussion for each module. Okay, well, I'm going to remove that and have you just write 1. Either a short writing or a discussion for each module, but not both. So I've reduced some of the writing requirements. In terms of what's going to help you with the upcoming midterm exam, many of you said, hey, we need to review assignments and quizzes. We need review games, which I don't know if I have time to create one now, but I'll try and create a review game that you can play for the final. Look at questions ahead of time, but then also kind of study guides and outlines of the chapter. So what I've decided to do is I created a number of resources that are available to instructors, and I'm going to post those in the midterm module. They include detailed notes of chapters 1 and 2, and then for the remaining chapters 3 through 6, they have little boxes that you can fill out for individual societies that kind of help you make sense of them. And I really think that will help you with the midterm exam question. Okay. So my plan of action for the rest of the semester is to reduce the number of written assignments, for example, in Module 3. And I'm going to try and focus more on discussions too with your writing because you all seem to enjoy that and seem that you learn the most from talking to each other. I'm going to post chapter outlines as best I can to help you review and prepare, and also to help organize your notes to make them, make your comparisons something that you can create an argument with. A lot of you understand the difference between 2 societies. Where we struggle sometimes in the writing is then making an argument about why that difference is so, or what the consequence, the historical significance of that difference is between these 2 societies. Okay, so that's my plan of action. In terms of the midterm guide, if you go into the Canvas classroom, okay, so you go over here to modules, you scroll down past modules 1, 2, and 3. Here you'll find the midterm guidelines, okay? And so for the guidelines, you can either click on this link, which will take you to a Google document, or you can scroll down and see them here on that page. But what you're going to find with the midterm exam is that you're going to be given 1.5 hours to answer one of 3 questions. The 3 questions that could potentially be on your exam are right here. Okay? The questions are: beginning with the Paleolithic era, what were the main stages in the rise of civilization? Did this process differ in different regions around the world? For example, in the Americas or sub-Saharan Africa. The second is, using examples, explain the origins and characteristics of those time periods or particular achievements or greatness that are sometimes known as a golden age or classical era, and when do they end or why do they end? And then third, do you find more similarities or differences in the ways the cultures we have studied envision the religious or spiritual aspects of life, and explain using examples? Okay, so what's going to happen when you decide to take this exam is you'll click on midterm first step, okay? And then you'll hit next. And it's going to, oops, going back. Okay. It's going to give you one of those questions. And see here, I got the first question about the Paleolithic era. Okay. And so what I would have from this point forward is 1.5 hours to write an essay answering that question. So my advice is to study all 3 beforehand. Create very detailed notes where you have organized your ideas and what you want to argue about these, argue in response to these questions, and then and your notes have detailed examples, which I think you'll be able to take from the resources I'm going to provide you for the midterm. Okay? And then once you're done, you'll submit that here, but then you'll also go to the second step. Okay? And you'll also submit the assignment here using the Submit Assignment button. Okay? And the reason you'll do that is so that it can be run through Turnitin and just checked for plagiarism. Okay? Obviously, some things that you know that I'm going to grade you on. Organization is important. The clarity of your ideas is important. But mostly, will you have a very direct argument in response to these questions? And then how do you use evidence? How much evidence do you use? And really use specific details from the past. But then also, in using those specific details from the past, at the end of each paragraph, be sure to say very directly how it relates back to the question. And that'll create a more cohesive, kind of organized essay. So those are some things that are coming up in the coming weeks. This is kind of a basic idea for how to approach these things. Please reach out to me with questions. Please let me know if you're concerned about the schedule or completing things on time. I'm always willing to listen to reasons why you should be given an extension or need more time to work on something. Or I strongly suggest that anyone that's really serious about it, improving their grade in this essay, reach out to me with questions before you take the assignment. Okay, so look it over and then kind of talk it out loud, or try and write a paragraph and then shoot me a question, shoot me 2 questions, or call me or email. Okay. All right. Looking forward to hearing from you. Great job so far in this semester. Many of you become excellent writers and analytical thinkers, and I really look forward to reading some of your responses to the midterm.